Friday 1836 fam. I'm starting today with a 9-minute EMOM as a warm-up. Every minute on the minute you're going to cycle between 3 different movements. First movement, either a run for 45 seconds, or if you have a rower or a bike at home, those are perfect. 45 seconds, any of those. You can jump rope if you don't have any of those things, jumping jacks, 45 seconds, or mountain climbers. Just something to keep you moving for that first initial 45 seconds. Second movement's going to be 8 single leg Romanian deadlifts with a dumbbell. Pick up that dumbbell and pick one foot up off the ground. Unlock the knee that you're standing on and hinge from the waist forward until your hamstrings say stop. Then contract the glutes and press the hips forward to stand up. Staying balanced. Complete 8 on that leg, then switch sides. Do 8 on the other leg. Here's a side view. Make sure you keep your core engaged nice and tight to protect the lower back. Again, hinging at the waist. Hamstrings say stop. Then stand it up. Like I said, you'll kind of have to find that center of gravity. I don't know about Lexi, but I'm always on point. Hinge forward. See? Always. 8 on each leg. Last movement will be a plank. Up on your hands here, shoulders back and down, core is tight. Make sure you're not piking your hips here, and don't let them sag as well. Make yourself into a nice straight line. Hold that plank. Make sure your wrists are directly under your shoulders. They're a nice straight line. If this is a little too easy, you want something more challenging, come down on your elbows. And the same rules apply. Don't let your hips pike up, and don't let them sag either. Hold nice and tight for 45 seconds. Then you'll move back to movement 1 and cycle through each of those 3 times for your warm-up. Moving right along, following your warm-up, we're going to spend 15 minutes today working on a 3-rep max deadlift. If you don't have 400 pounds worth of plates in your garage, it's okay. You don't have to build to your all-time 3-rep max today. The goal is a heavy to a moderate load. If you have that available to you. If your weights are a little bit on the lighter side, you can pick a rep count of 5 or maybe 8 or 10 instead of 3, depending on how heavy or how light your weights are and what's comfortable for you. Regardless, the movement is going to look the same, and we're going to dial in that technique no matter how light you're staying or how heavy you're building. For the movement itself, your feet are going to be narrow, should be directly under the shoulders. Your hands will be about a thumb's width outside the thigh on your barbell. When you step up, make sure that the barbell, your shins are touching the barbell, and your shoulders should be on top of it. Your knees should be behind your toes. Make sure they're not all the way forward, you're not too bent, and keep those hamstrings loaded. From here, you're going to drive through the heels. Hips and knees will both unfold at the same time, pressing your hips forward into the barbell. Barbell stays in contact with your leg the whole time. Do not shrug your shoulders throughout this movement. Keep them nice and flat. One more time from the side. Here is your setup. Make sure your hamstrings are loaded. Your knees and your hips are going to unfold at the same time. Squeeze those glutes and push forward into the bar to get it to stand up. This is not a 1-2 movement on your joints, okay? Don't unfold your knees first and then your hips. It'll stress your back too much. Also, make sure your shoulder blades stay back and down to keep your chest out and protects that lumbar curve that you want to maintain in your lower back. Complete 3 reps here. They should be touch and go. This is a 3-rep max. After that 3rd rep, control the barbell all the way down to complete the load. The workout today will be 21-15-9 calorie row or a calorie bike, 15-12-9 deadlift, or 12-9-6 strict handstand push-ups. This is one of those you're going to want to write all the reps down. Maybe some chalk on your driveway is a good quick visual, or whiteboard, of course, if you have that. Lucky for all of you fancy pants workouts, this one is for you. If you have access to a bike or a rower, switch that metric to calories and you're going to count up. If you do not have a bike or a rower, this workout is also for you. You can grab your jump rope. You're going to do 100, 75, or 50 double unders. You can scale that down to single unders if you like. If you don't have a jump rope, set a brick or a plate or something that's a little bit elevated, maybe a step, and just complete jumps. That rep count can be the same. You jump up and over. If you don't have somewhere you can jump, just pick a line and you can jump over. Lateral jumps or forward and backward. Keep it moving. That first movement, your goal is to be moving for 1 minute and 15 seconds the first round, 50 seconds your second round, and then 35 seconds for the final round. That's it for movement number 1. Movement number 2, the rep scheme changes to 15, 12, and 9. This will be your deadlift. It's a heavy deadlift today. 275 and 185 is RX. The goal is not to get all of those unbroken, surely not. Make sure that you are maintaining that lower lumbar curve that we just did in the 3 rep max. This should be a challenging movement here. If you do not, of course, have that heavy weight, you can still use whatever weight is available to you, or even scale it to a completely different movement, maybe a kettlebell swing. As you pick that up, use your hips to get the kettlebell moving. You can either do Russian swings, or you can swing all the way overhead to where your wrists, shoulders, and hips are all stacked. All right. Last but not least will be a strict handstand push-up. Find a wall to kick up against, maybe a blanket underneath it, or a puddle jumper like Sarah used for her ab mat, like an ab mat. You can use that for an elevation for your handstand push-ups to scale it down a little bit so you don't have to come all the way to the floor, or use a couple of pillows. Anything if you're all the way inverted to bring your head down some with the handstand push-up without having to go all the way to the ground. You can also choose a chair, get your toes up on the chair, and stack your wrists under your shoulders, and then from here you can perform push-ups. Rep count is the same. Or you can move into a strict press with a dumbbell. You'll have 2 of them, strict press. Or if you have a heavy weight and you want to push yourself, make this a little bit heavier, and then you can go into a push press. Use that dip drive, press all the way overhead. Try not to inhale your hair, and push all the way up. If you are doing push press or strict press, when you're pushing up, make sure you don't push up and stick your butt out. All right, stay stacked, keep everything in line. You need this core to maintain stability, especially with weight overhead. Make sure it's nice and straight, coming down, dip drive. And again, don't stick your butt out, don't arch your back. Keep it nice up underneath you. Write those reps down because it's a lot to remember. Get your workout on.